All right. My name is Venturets, and this is a totally unscripted video that I'm gonna do. Well, not video, more like audio blog or some sort. But I just want to talk about something that I just realized, and I think it might change my perspective with Gaster forever. Um, First of all, if you click this or you at least did it just for curiosity, you know who Gaster is, an entity that just somehow it's out of existence of Undertale and Deltarune. And I think I know why. Well, not the why, but I think he's totally not our reality or the world, manipulating everything that he can do with his limited tools. I think he truly exists in our reality. And that's because I recently watched for what it will be Matrix movie. This movie it's one of the coolest movies that I watched in my whole life, and that's for sure. But one thing I didn't notice, and because I wasn't so into Deltarune like I do today, it's the scene that Neo, the main character, um gets out of the Matrix for the first time in his existence. The noise that he makes when he starts to getting out of the Matrix is this is well, it's almost the same exact same. It's almost the same exact same. It's almost the same sound font of the garbage noises that we have in the dark world when we try to call it somebody in the cell phone, or the entry 70 whatever of Undertale. It has the same sound font. And in Matrix, it is the first time that Neo gets out of the Matrix. So, to my conclusion, Gaster truly is out of the bounds of the game war. He somehow discovered a way just to get out the game's code, the game's limit war into our reality, a reality that's much more bigger and much more like much more, how can I put it, unlimitless in any way, to a point that even he can do whatever he wants. And the thing that he wants the most is to deliver something truly magical, which is Deltarune. We know Deltarune is like his very, very personal experiment. This experiment being the thing that we are being controlled in a game world that exists in its own rules. Like everyone just wakes up, does its own routines. Nothing really happens until we reach the Dark World. And when we reach the Dark World, we have more control as a video game, but not in a story wise. Story wise, it's almost as well. It's scripted, and it doesn't have like so much freedom of choice of our own, if that makes sense. Well, it truly makes sense because Deltarune is Deltarune. The same premise of the game is like you don't choose who you are. So, but the thing that I want to point out is that we are just being a test subject of Gaster, and that's totally clear. But the thing that scares me the most is if I follow the same trilogy that I found, the same font of the garbage noises, I find myself getting through a possibly ending of Deltarune. The ending that I can make the only one ending a true statement. That it doesn't matter how much we try, it's always gonna be one ending. And the ending that I think it's gonna be, it's basically the end of the world, but the end of the game world. Let me elaborate. The end of the game world, it's more like if a virus gets into the game itself and it's consuming basically everything, every single part of the existence of the game, that it has a minuscule part of code, and changes it into something harmful, into something that the game cannot handle for itself, into something that just breaks it, just crash it. And if that's truly the case, how's the ending of Deltarune gonna be? Well, I think the ending of the game can be something like, after the weird route, we're completely stuck into the route, and it has a global variable that totally changes the ending of the game. We still don't know the end for many obvious reasons, but we know it's a global variable that it's gonna be set forever, and it doesn't matter how many times we do pacifist or neutral or just the normal route outside of the weird one, because we are already locked. And the way that I mean by that is like in Undertale Genocide route. Once we do the Undertale Genocide route, we are totally trapped in a global variable that is set always in a pacifist or for any other route that it's just good or better than the genocide for obvious reasons, um, to remind us that we are the monsters. So, what if the weird route it's the trigger of some kind of virus that starts to like consume the game, starts to break it, and it starts to just malfunction? Every dark world starts to go into the light world. Some liners with the sprites of the liners are into the dark world with even the same stats. And even there's so many variables that it can happen. Like a party member losing all the stats that we already have, all the points, all like the health, and even the items that we have, it can be lost through that virus. And it's gonna be so powerful that we cannot stop him. No entity in the game's world is gonna stop it. Not even us. Because we are playing within the game's world's rules. And the conclusion, it's thanks to the Matrix trilogy. And it totally makes sense. If I found the almost exact same sound font of Gaster's like same garbage noises, why not the rest of it? Like Neo, it's not just a person who has exclusively the same garbage noises when he gets out of the Matrix, like Gaster does. But also, it's a person that was already prophesized to save everyone by any mean. And this person gets so overpowered. He can control gravity, he can fly, he can just manipulate gravity itself. Well, I already say it, but I mean, like, mass of everything that is around him. He can control even the code of the Matrix itself. And that raised me a question. Does Gaster does the same exact thing, but in Deltarune? Does he basically has the power to control every single detail of the game? To a degree that in the updates that he does, because the updates like patches, fix bugs, and and things like that are from a Gaster account. From Toby's account, it's just chapters being released, chapter updates, but nothing else. The chapter bug fixes and even additions after release are exclusively to a Gaster account. And in here, raise me another question. Does Gaster truly live in a real world? The answer might be yes, it does. If I already if I already found that the same exact sound font on Matrix, that it's basically the same exact scene that Neo gets out of the Matrix into the reality, why does Gaster can be the same thing? Like, he found a way to just be out of the reality of the game world into our reality. And it is at one point that even he can talk to us, he can communicate, it connects to us in a really weird way. The first time that we meet him in Deltarune, it's literally in the creation of the vessel. And this is the first time that we also see that our choices doesn't matter like in Undertale. And it makes sense. The person who is controlling basically everything outside of the matrix of the game world, a place that Gaster was truly trapped before escaping for some reason or some way that he found out, he's now playing with us like his toys. And we totally know that, right? Well, what about the Gaster himself triggers a virus that we didn't know, and he accidentally does it? He didn't do it for purpose. It's clearly not. But what if the same exact account does a single mistake being as Gaster, and when it updates a bug fix of like Deltarune itself, like after chapter 7's release, it updates and something triggers. The world started to collapse, the stats starts to going crazy, the light world and the dark world, it doesn't make sense anymore, and even part of the code itself can be seen. And then we can also find this because it's trapped within the game's code. And it might be another thing that I think this is extremely lost within the game's world. And it's because I think she also was gonna be the 1% chance that she was gonna get out of the game's world's limits, to be out of the matrix of Deltarune. Gaster did it within the matrix of Undertale. And maybe the counterpart of that character, which is Gaster, maybe this. We still don't know, and this is clearly far from being a scientist like Gaster. But what if she got lost because of that? Because of something so mystical that it breaks the game's code and lend her to be in that void, the void of pure darkness, which can be the shelter for sure. But what if the shelter, it's just an unfinished part of the game that nobody wants you to see? An unfinished part, which is a total dark world, but it plays like like the, how's it called, the secret laboratory of Undertale, which was more creepier, more creepier, more like ambience, more darker, and with more enemies that were amalgamations. What if these new amalgamations were bugged within the game's code? Normal enemies didn't spawn like they have to do because they are bugged. And also there is one reason that of why Chris cannot seal that fountain because it's bugged. It's impossible to seal. Maybe that's already the trigger of a giant virus. And maybe that's why Flowery already told the heroes that maybe the giant darkness that fills beneath the hometown, it's just so deep, so dark, so, how can I put it? Darker? Yet, it makes sense. It makes total sense. If this sheltered dark world, it's bugged, and it's growing and growing it, within the game's limits. And not just the limits, but also in a true reality where the dark world could exist, can also be spreading around all the tunnels that are interconnecting within like the infinite amount of like earth that it can have beneath it. And if that's the case, and if that dark world it's totally bugged, then the game is gonna crash. The game is not gonna be able to handle that dark world anymore, and it's just gonna fall into pieces. And part of those pieces can be even suns from under, not Undertale, I mean Deltarune, to fall into that void, fall into some sort of glitch, or like some sort of clip. Like, I don't know, get into a backrooms, and once he gets into a backrooms, he ends up into Undertale's world, a world where another Sans might exist or might not. We still don't know. But that can be also the point. The Sans of Undertale can be also the Sans of Deltarune. I know there are many, many videos just saying that Sans from Deltarune is not the same as Undertale for many other reasons, and I validate that. I agree at some regard. But also, what it's some kind of glitch, like I'm already saying, that Gaster triggered accidentally with that dark world made sense to fall into Undertale, which was his original world. And also, one of the reasons that Sans might have the punch card of just don't forget with 3 people smiling. And also, the glitch, it's coming from the trilogy of Matrix, which comes from like Neo, making an agent explode. I don't have the image, and I don't know if I can put in a video. I don't know if I'm gonna edit this, but still, Neo makes explode an agent. Holy shit! And it triggers a virus that it can be spread and consume everything, and it really does. It starts consuming everything, and even the Matrix itself stopped being the safest place that even the people with free minds can be in to be safer in the reality itself. And maybe that's one of those cases that Susie can be in true danger. The Dark World acts as a video game, and we truly know it thanks to Dragon Blazers, which is a base version of the Lord of the Hammer, and Lord of the Hammer, it's based on the prophecy itself. And if the prophecy can be sort of like inspired of Matrix, it's gonna end up back in some regard. And when it starts bugging everything and even crashing the game at some points, to a point that even we can start saving and loading like we could in Undertale, and it can change many departments because it's bugged. What if, what if the Dark World in Castletown bugs so badly that we have to seal it? Not because it's good and bad, but because we need to. The world is gonna collapse, literally. The rotting, it's not something that, like, the Titans are gonna rise and the Knights are gonna just destroy everything, which it can be true. That's the rotting that Rosie has been told, and we already know for chapter 4. But what if we have so many Titans, so many Knights, a certain degree, it crashes our game, and it makes it totally impossible to access it anymore. So what if that Dark World, the Shelter Dark World, it's bugged, infects Castletown? We have to seal it, and that's the reason Susie got so pissed for the prophecy panel. We have to seal the hometown. Oh, sorry. We have to seal Castletown. And from Castletown, every other like dark world that is present and connected. Because every single bug starts from the root. And from the root, everything can be in this game. We already have the roots theory. Why not some kind of root fountain that is gonna be spreading everything to at some degree that infects Castletown, and we have to seal it. And also in Matrix, at the end of the trilogy, Neo dies, or kinda like that. He becomes like an antivirus and wipes out everything, acting as a sacrifice. And instead of sealing the Dark World, what if we have to sacrifice Chris? Or what if we have to sacrifice ourselves, the soul? And that could make even more sense. If we sacrifice the soul, aka ourselves, the players, we could be banished from Angel's Heaven. And the heaven can be like the light world or the dark world, whatever it will be, but it's in the game's world, within the confines of those limits. So, if we are gonna be banished, we're gonna be banished for something even greater, something that it's impossible to fix until we get out of the game. And what is one way that we can get out? Closing the game itself. And what's Undertale famous for doing? Saving and loading, aka closing the game, reopening it again, and see if something changes. That's gonna be the end of Deltarune. We're gonna sacrifice ourselves, the soul. Save Deltarune, the game itself. And if we enter it again, we're gonna trigger the virus again, and we're gonna be banished again. And that's gonna be the full cycle. It doesn't matter how kind we were, it doesn't matter if we did the weird route, or what, it's gonna matter, but we still don't know at what degree. And even for that, I still feel that banishing the angel's heaven means that we were playing kind of a god in Deltarune's war, especially for the Dark War. So being banished, it's not a bad thing. Has to be part of prophecy. Ralsei already told us, and even the first panel, when we like finish chapter 1 through 3, it's the same thing. We banish the angel's heaven. And I think that vanish has to do with the virus. That it can be from Gaster's department, that's for sure. But also the virus, it's us. The virus, it's from the Matrix itself. But to save the Matrix, we had to sacrifice something from the real world, like in the trilogy. Thank you for listening to me. I was just yapping around the stuff that I really like. My name is Ben Treads. This was my first time using my voice into the internet, and I just wanted to just talk Deltarune. Deltarune is one of my favorite games of all time. Easily top two or even one of all time. I don't know. And it has so many secrets. And I love Gaster. Gaster is one of those characters that it has one of the fewest lines in gaming's history. Yet, is one of the most interesting characters that I've had the pleasure just to analyze. And all this theory just came up with a single clip of Matrix, the sound font of the garbage noises. That alone was the trigger for me to do this theory. And it's really unscripted, but I enjoy it. I hope everyone enjoy it. This is totally unscripted. You already know that. Um, and if you notice my English is not perfect. It's far from that, and it's because it's my second language. And for the nature of being a second language, I usually struggle to pronounce a couple of things. I can totally speak it. I already did it, but yeah. So, thank you for listening to me, and I hope, I don't know, do something again, like from Deltarune or a documental, yeah.